right, so for today, we're going to do part 2 of slope-intercept form. We're specifically looking at slope-intercept form, the graphs of functions. You'll notice before we did intercepts, we did tables, and now we're going on to the next form, and we kind of touched on it yesterday. If you remember from yesterday, we made this table, and we decided that this was a really great form to use. It was super easy. I just needed to make sure it's in the y equals mx plus b form. And then we spent some time, and all we did was pick out the slope and y-intercept. Remember, on problems like 2 and 3, they're not in slope-intercept form. You need to get them into that form before you move on, right? Today, day 2, we're not only going to do that, but we're also going to graph it. So we're going to go one step further. So today, we're going to graph the equation using slope-intercept form. If you graph it using a table or intercepts, it'll be wrong, right? I'm asking for a specific method. Step 1 is going to be rewrite the equations in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to take this equation. Is it in the form y equals mx plus b? Is it in that form yet? No, it is not. I need y by itself. So how do I get it in that form? That's correct. I'm going to subtract 4x from each side. And what do I end up getting? Negative 4x plus 2. I want the negative 4x first. It needs to come first. It wants to be the line leader. All right, is there anything else that I need to do with this equation? No, there's nothing else to do. So I'm going on to the next step. It says to identify the slope and the y-intercept. So my slope in this equation is negative 4, or I can write it as negative 4 over 1. Usually when I have a negative number, I can write it as negative 4 over 1. I can write it as 4 over negative 1. I can write it as a negative and then the negative out front. Can I write it as negative 4 over negative 1? I can't, because that would make this a positive fraction, and that can't occur, right? So I can write negative 4 all of those ways. The one that I tend to like the best is this one. And the reason why I do is because if my numerator is positive, I move it up. If it's negative, I move it down. And then I always have a positive in my denominator, so I'm going to move to the right. So I'm either going to move up or down, and I move to the right. And I always move to the right. If you remember that trick, this really helps you, all right? What's my b on this? It is 2, and it's just going to be 2. Right? Remember our slope? Can I have a decimal? Nope, I never have a decimal. Can I have a mixed number like 4 1/3? No, I always have rise over run. Right? So now my next step is going to be to plot the y-intercept. So I'm going to go to my graph. I'm going to label this my x-axis, this my y-axis, and I'm going to plot it on the y-axis because it's my y-intercept. All right, that's going to be my starting point. And then what I'm going to do, if I go back, the next direction is to use the slope to plot 2 more points and draw a line through the points. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to move it down 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. And you'll notice I got this nice, beautiful line. Kind of, sort of, maybe. It should go through that point. Okay? And I put arrows on it. And you graphed it. Notice it's not a table. It's not intercepts. It's super easy. Once you get in that form, it's like the quickest way, and it almost always works. Okay. Questions? Have you had it before? Yeah, you've done this before. All right. What do we know about parallel lines? Correct. They're straight because they're lines. They go on forever because they're lines. That is correct. They don't intersect. right? What do I know about the slopes of parallel lines? The slopes are straight. Correct. There's not one certain slope. But what do I know if I have two different lines? What do I know about their slopes? They're going to be the same. Yeah. The slopes are the same. Now, we're going to determine whether these are parallel. Now, yesterday you did a little exit problem, remember? You worked on a little problem for me with slope. And when I looked at your work, it was kind of sloppy. A lot of you, you're not labeling your points, you're not putting your formulas down, and you started getting them wrong because you got sloppy on me. Don't get a problem wrong because you were too lazy to write down the formula or you wanted it quick and it was sloppy. When you're dealing with an ACT and we're talking about entrance into a college or a scholarship, you want to make sure that you do that test and do it well, right? And it would be terrible for you to get the problem wrong because you're too lazy to write it down. So again, when you do these types of problems, you're going to find the slope. I want you to actually label these. 0.1, 0.2, x1, y1, x2, y2. And you go, well, Mrs. Medved, it had been a while since I did it. I understand that, but you're doing your ACT in 2 years. Are you going to remember it then? You got to, right? You have to. So let's take a look at this. Our m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. My y2 is 2 minus 5 over -2 minus 2. Yeah, so I get -3 over -4, which is 3/4. Make sure you reduce it and put it in its prettiest form. So I need the 0.1, 0.2. I need the x1, y1, x2, y2. I need the slope, m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I need that right now. I want to make sure that you're going to remember it. And you remember it by going over it over and over and over and over again, okay? All right, let's take a look at the next one. I see some of you started already, which was awesome. 0.1, 0.2, x1, y1, x2, y2, m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Right, I got -4 minus 1 over -3 minus 4, -5 over -7, which is 5/7. And then you can go ahead and do the next one. You do it at your desk while I do it on the smartboard. Check and see if you're right. I see a lot of you do that. You're doing a really good job. You just go ahead and do it at your desk. You'll look up to check to see it's right. Are there any questions with your slope? Again, I have kids that will flip-flop their numbers. It's not hard math. It's just you misplace the numbers. If you go slow and you follow the formula, the likelihood that you get this wrong is going to be small. A, where's line A, B? You got A, B? No, where is it? You gotta write it down. All right, now, let's take a look at these. Which lines are parallel? Yes. A is parallel to C. Why? The slopes are the same. They're 3/4. Really important concept. You're going to see it quite a bit this year. You're going to see it a lot next year in geometry. You're going to see it again in Algebra 2, pre-calc, college algebra, ACT, MCAs, NWAs. You will see this concept. Questions? Okay, again, notes are not a spectator sport. Make sure that you're involving yourself. All right? That's how you get faster, too. Page 247. Okay, I got 17 to 19, 23, 25, 28, 29, 32, and 33. And it looks like a lot, but it really isn't. And the reason why I say that is because I listed certain ones. I picked them out because I really like them. Right? Homework makes you quicker. It helps you retain it. Make sure that you do it and get it done. Okay. Tomorrow I'll give you a new list of what your homework will be. This is also in Schoology.